Death and danger and despair in San Antonio. You're gonna die to death all the way to hell.
What if you're a good person? You can go to heaven? Hey guys, I'm Roman.
Rhodes.
And welcome back to our YouTube channel.
We're talking about death, dying in San Antonio.
The killing ground, is that right?
Yeah.
Why is it the killing ground?
Because San Antonio is one of the killiest places you could die to death in Texas.
Die to death in Texas. Okay,
All
you
the
found a
way.
report about the safest cities in Texas. San
No,
Antonio
it
didn't fare too well, did
That's
it?
not what
No?
I don't remember how it was phrased.
Okay.
The phrasing was different. To cut off the clickbaity start, Texas, one of the safest states you can live in outright. Probably because of all the guns. Also, lower concentration of people, I think. That helps out. You know, people are spread out.
It is a bigger state, more people spread out. That makes sense.
Of all the safest places, San Antonio is one of the least safest places. As a matter of fact, on the rank of 224 cities throughout the state, San Antonio is, being the safest, and 224 the worstest.
Yeah.
San Antonio is right at 215.
So we're like a 9 away from
The dangerousest.
the worst, yeah.
Of the safest state to live in, admittedly.
I guess it needs to be context. But what makes San Antonio so low on the list of safest cities in Texas?
The murder?
Murder?
Yeah, the murder.
That's what I'm asking.
And violent crimes. Okay.
Violent crimes,
So
okay.
check it out. According to statistics that I don't remember where I got.
We'll put the link in the description.
No, we won't. There's been about a 6% drop in general, serious crimes, just like assault and stuff, and 16% drop in outright murders.
Okay.
But if you're likely to get murdered, you're very unlikely to get murdered in Texas. You're less likely to get murdered in most of the cities. But in the least likely cities of which you are likely to get not murdered in, you most likely will be killed in San Antonio. The least most of all.
So is that something that I have to keep on my mind every time I go into work? That I'm going to San Antonio, I might be murdered
Keep in mind that keep in mind that you're going to most likely die in a car accident or from heart failure. Okay. But, and here's the thing, you're less likely to be murdered, but someone will beat you up. Okay. You will be stabbed slightly.
The chances of me being involved in a violent crime are high. Doesn't mean I'm going to die. Higher. Okay.
You know, it comes to mind too. I know a lot of the reason people have been surviving in wars is because the technology is better. Yes. It just occurred to me that the statistics for the massive 16% decrease in murders could be because of better technology and easier access to hospitals, thus pushing
the whole medical side of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not that people aren't trying to kill you as much as they were. We're just better at fixing you.
But okay, so what makes Texas the safest? Do you have any information about that?
I do not.
Just besides,
I have things that make it the word dangerouser.
Let me read. Okay.
The reason, potential causes for the dangerous thing, and they're actually kind of good things. Our economy in general, the United States is had about an 11% increase overall from 2017. I think to now, but state of Texas has done a little bit better, particularly San Antonio and Austin, about 30% gross regional product, GRP, has increased. They've gotten a lot more. GRP is the products and services that are coming out of an area. So that means there's been a lot more jobs. In general, I know Austin has a big growing tech and entertainment industry, and also San Antonio.
There's a lot of big businesses growing in San Antonio, I've noticed.
Yeah, so that's just the thing. Whenever the businesses are growing, there's more people coming into the area. And that just means, you could be bringing in the wrong element, but also it's just new people. People are the stress.
Overall.
There's going to be stress. Yeah, and think about all the construction. That causes stress. It's all these little stressors. No real big arching thing. That's just going to cause someone to, as soon as I get out of the car, I'm stabbing Roman in the face. Right to the dentist. Right in the tooth bone. Stab to the face. You'll survive. He does not want to take your life.
Okay.
But he would not be sad if you were gone. Just for economic reasons he can't control, yo. Oh, and also too, I'd have thought, what if it just means more people are snitching? What if it's the same amount of crime, we just got more snitches in San Antonio? Possible higher reported crime rate.
So there's some people getting murdered, beaten up, or whatever, and it's just never reported?
I think so. I think a lot of places, they just kind of, keep it on their own. I think Texas in general has a weird relationship with law enforcement. On the one hand, we're the outlaw state. On the other hand, we're like the law enforcement. We love like the Texas Rangers. Not just the sports teams, but the
actual Rangers.
Yeah, so we just like, we're really into our law. So I think I would not be surprised if a bit of that is that there's a slightly more higher crime
now that got me thinking about looking into the numbers of how many people go missing.
You can't
in Texas and specifically in San Antonio.
To the snitches if they got a gun is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Come on, that was a good line.
That was a good line. That kind of blew my mind for a second. So I'm like,
put it across the screen. You were saying missing people?
Yeah. Now I'm wondering how much Now I'm wondering what the numbers are for like the missing people here in San Antonio and Texas related to how safe we are, how much crime or whatever. That just got me thinking about that number. But I don't know if
the missing people wasn't always going to be a direct correlation to crime, because I bet you there's a higher percent of missing people in states that have like looser payday loan laws, so that people just don't want to pay off their loans and things like that. They're just going to disappear.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that'd be.
I was just thinking about that. I mean, that'd be a good kind of thing to look into to kind of see that information, because you don't realize how many people really just go missing every day.
Yeah, because they disappeared.
Yeah, and like what are chances of that I would go missing? Yeah.
Another
chances of me getting stabbed in the face and.
I'm gonna say like, why would you go missing though?
I don't know. There's different cases.
Yeah, but what are they? Why did we just oh man? Not only do I want to stab Gilbert, I'm also going to make him disappear. I'm going to put the time and effort to move this body really far away and dispose.
I just want to be prepared for whatever comes up.
That's just way too much work. But I was looking up potential cures, fixes, solutions
to the problem.
Admittedly, I got this from the Huffington Post, so I feel like these don't quite feel Texas-y, and that basically they're not like outright violent. Just murder all the crimes. You make the worse the crime, the harder we murder you. You thieving, you get shot.
All right, so just to
make stabbing, you get stabbed harder.
Okay, so these are solutions to make Texas and also San Antonio safer, or to eliminate violent crime.
It should eliminate it.
Okay,
it should get eliminated.
So what are the solutions?
Solutions for crimes, according to Huffington Post's John Roman, PhD.
Oh, so we got a
article, 10 Surprising Ways to Stop Crimes.
Okay.
I don't know how much credit I should be giving to this guy, because I sort of changed the phrasing a lot and condensed it.
I would love to hear what this
guy has to say.
Let's talk about him.
Good point. And this was a real good one. Diverting kids from the juvenile systems. That sounds great, because apparently, like, just kids don't learn from from prison the same way an adult might. They are still learning, and basically prison stunts their growth process. Basically, if you haven't been into prison, like until you were like as an adult, maybe 25 or 30, then you could see like, oh man, I don't want to go to jail because I can think about like these are consequences. Just the fact that kids don't learn consequences until later on, and it has to be established. Prison is not a good place to learn them, because we don't have rehabilitation in there.
Yes, and I mean I've had not really personal involvement with this, but I know a lot of people
that are related to you,
and me. I know a lot of people who've gone to prison. It seems like the older the person is when they're serving their sentence in prison, they learn and they get better and they're rehabilitated.
Really
the kids that go in, they come out, and it's like it doesn't really ruin them, but it kind of stuck.
They can't really progress. Million percent agree, because I know plenty of guys who and some serious crimes too, and they got caught, went to jail later in life. Mid-20s even. And that's pretty early. That's a long time.
Yes.
They got a big chunk of their life taken out. And keep in mind, they were kind of criminals throughout their childhood too. That was able to stop them and change them, because they had that ability to say, oh man, I did this and this happened. I don't want to do that again. The opposite end, guys who, I know dudes, oh man, not even for a long time. Mm-hmm. I know people who went in like at about 15, 16 for a few months, and something about it just warped their perception on everything.
Exactly. It's just a psychological thing. I mean, even the younger you are, even if you don't get in trouble and go to prison,
that young, it's physiological.
Yeah. you're gonna
change your brain.
You're gonna make mistakes when you're younger, over and over again, and kind of what they say, an idiot makes the same mistakes over and over again, expecting a different result.
Yeah.
I think in general, we all can say, even people who haven't gone to prison or gotten in trouble with the law that way, you can say, when I was younger, I made mistakes and I didn't learn from them, and then it just like at a certain age it clicked, and I was like, oh, I should change my mode of thinking, change my way of doing
words right there. Part dos. Respecting the residents of the high crime neighborhoods. Basically, yeah, I know like I said, the phrasing was weird on a lot of them,
but that makes sense. I mean, so you're saying just kind of give the people who are living in
basically, if it's a high crime area, don't treat everyone like a criminal. Get to know the people that you can. And basically, has to do with police integration, getting to know that you're gonna have to go the extra miles of getting to know the people that you're patrolling, and
that communication, that relationship, make it stronger.
Exactly, and they actually do that a lot. And ironically, it's like low crime areas, but this might be part of it. I know Scandinavian countries, England, and Japan, they're real big about the foot patrols and stopping to talk to people. And the fact is, how people talk, how criminals talk to incriminate themselves. It's better to hear it coming down the line of like, how are you doing today, officer? Oh, you heard about that break-in? Oh, yeah, what did they steal? Lawn equipment? That's so crazy. I just heard about all this lawn equipment that went on sale, at this blah, 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 and then boom, crime solved. 3 con jobs. You got to get jobs for cons.
Okay.
Well, but I shortened it, but basically... help set up programs or something. Basically, we need it as this. I think this is more as a society. Be willing to look at people who are, we see ex-convict on their paper and maybe be willing to give them a chance.
You make judgments, right?
You make judgments, right? There's, and it's like I understand, maybe you don't need to be a bank teller, but if you're working at like a restaurant or something, I've known people. At my job, who got fired for withholding information on their, I
knew a guy who had a very small. I think it was
very small
felony.
statin?
It was a felony.
A small felony.
But it was something.
Federal crimes are weird.
Federal
all kinds of things. What do you do? Step on a dodo bird?
He just forgot to put it on an application to do some school. I think he was going to become a phlebotomist. And just because of that, he lost the opportunity to get that job.
And now the only way he draws blood is with a shank. Number 4 was whenever apparently this is big enough that he needed to report it on, and I should maybe look into it. We really I loved seeing judges sort of talk down to a defendant after they've been served, give them a good lecture and like, this is why you're an idiot and you're dumb and I hate you and you're stupid. No one loves you. You weren't loved before. You were only gonna get loved now as you kind you don't want in jail.
That's like the old school. Like the old West kind of judge.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
Texas. We're Texas. But apparently it doesn't really work that well. Apparently just that moment, having a difference between a judge who says, I hope you take this moment, this time, and this judgment to change yourself and maybe find some programs, take advantage of the things that we offer you in prison to better yourself. And what I did before can be huge for a convict's rehabilitation afterwards.
Have you seen these videos going around on Facebook about this judge? He only hears misdemeanors and stuff like that. But... the way he gives the comeuppance, he gives out the sentences. He has a very unique way of doing that.
Tell me.
There was one thing. There was a guy who was speeding, and it was a ticket of I don't know how many $100s or whatever. So there was 3 options. The judge could either dismiss it, give him the regular fine for how much he was speeding, or because of some other things, there was even a larger fine that could be applied to him. The guy who got the ticket brought his kid, 6 years old, to the courthouse, and the judge told the kid, "Hey, your dad did this. Do you think he did wrong?" And the kid said, "Yes." He's like, "What would you do? What punishment would you give him? Would you let him off, just with a warning, or either of the 2 fines?" The kid went the middle route and said, "Give him the fine that's just the basic." And judge said, "That's what he's gonna get." So he let the kid decide, and kind of let the dad think, "Wow, how much." What he's showing this kid, And he does stuff with other
know,
comics like that.
I'm gonna hold judgment, negative or positive, before I check that out.
I'll send it to you, and maybe that could be another thing we can talk about later.
Maybe that should be linked to, because I might not look at that video.
But these what we're talking about are felonies and like bigger crimes, so that would be, I mean, a little different thing.
But still, that's where you start.
But
not
you want
everybody
that kind
starts
of
off with a felony.
Yeah.
You know, you got to start with the small crimes, leading up to numero 5, bullying, and it needs to be taken more seriously. And basically, bullying has been seen as sort of like, it's coming up. Everybody gets bullied. It seems like a natural thing.
Well, right now I hear there's the two sides to it. There are people who are saying we're overreacting on bullying, and there's people saying that we need to take it more seriously. But maybe we're not taking it seriously in the right way.
Here's the thing, too. I think a little bit of both. And basically, I could see it as bullying. Obviously, you need to make sure the kids. I mean, some kids are dorks, but there's a difference between that and just like. Some of these kids are basically practicing being criminals later on in life.
Yeah.
And I think most of the emphasis has been just like on cutting it out when sometimes they might need to be, looked into a little more serious. I mean, you could tell, there was a lot of serial killers. You could kind of guess what they had in common once they saw, hey, a lot of these guys like torturing animals. And, not to send them straight to jail because clearly we marked out earlier, that didn't work for them. They need a program, but we need to take it more serious. Yeah. You need to move them aside and be like, okay, little Jimmy, you're not a monster, but you're on that road. Let's see.
Well,
don't put it that way.
I know. No,
don't be that honest.
No, you do say, no, when you say you put that word monster, I do believe there are some people
that can turn into monsters, right? Werewolves, that are vampires, swamp things, dragons.
That are, like narcissists or sociopaths that you might not be able to help them, but there's those other kids who just have simple, emotional problems that are easily treatable.
There's not. There's no such thing as simple, easily treatable emotional problems.
Well, no, I didn't mean simple as in you can give them a lollipop.
It's better to start it young, though,
and they'll be
admittedly.
Fine. But there's a program that you can get out of that.
Yeah, and a lot of times too, it's family issues that they're acting out because they're repeating what they're getting from home. So yeah, that's I think part of investigating. And if that's the case, then you're looking into child abuse and neglect, and that's a good thing to stop.
There's a feasible route to go to solve the problem.
My point's exactly.
Okay, what else we got?
Oh, this one makes a lot of sense. And actually, before I saw it in this article, I used to read a lot of true crime books, specifically around serial killers, and one of the things highly recommended that they should have done more, and is recommended here, is to aggressively investigate burglaries. Because a lot of these, guys who could turn into serial killers.
That's what I say, links to
links to other crimes. They tend to also to the violent crimes tend to build. Burglary being one of them, and you might not know if they're stealing. It could just be that they're scoping out a place to murder someone later. But it can connect. It's the beginning of really violating, common held laws and respect for other people, breaking into their houses. Good idea. Investigate it harder. And also, too, you're probably going to find out this is not the first crime, and people like getting their stuff back, preferably not losing it at all. But if you get it back, wow, more trust in the cops. Thanks, guys. Next time I hear about a crime, I'm going to let y'all know instead of, getting my cut. I don't know how to feel about this one. It's suggested, and I could see how it could be a good idea. Yeah. But I could see how it could be misused. And I could see how it's an invasion of privacy.
What is it?
Collect DNA from everybody. Just everybody all around. Now, when you get an ID, they already take your fingerprints. Yes. Or is it just your thumb, or is it all your fingerprints?
On ID, I think it's just
a driver's license. Well, either way, they're already kind of starting this. We already have a lot of information.
Do they change from when you're born?
No, unless they get scars on them and stuff. They do, but that's not the birth certificate. Fingerprints. The question that was brought up was that they take all your fingerprints and footprints whenever you're a child.
Yes,
but that is not entered into any database, so they already kind of have your DNA and your fingerprints. So should we start a national registry that starts when you're born? This isn't suggested. This is my wondering. What do y'all think? I don't know, man. This is a serious one. This is some deep state
seems to
police
some science fiction kind of thing, really, in the future where you have.
But the thing is, they already do that. They already collect your information. They just don't store. We just don't have access to it because it's a form of you're being presumed innocent, so they're not going to look at you at all.
Well, there was one thing I had to go get a thing about some legal changes that I'm making, and I had to get a fingerprint card and go get my fingerprints. Just to prove that it was me who's doing the changes. But I've kind of thought I know that I have to send one card into the FBI so they could do a criminal background search. So that made me wonder.
What are you doing?
Just some legal stuff. We'll talk about it in the future. No, I just have to change some personal information. And I just kind of like to prove that I'm the person who's in charge who can legally make these changes. But you're supposed to send it to the FBI so they do a criminal background check. But that's what I'm thinking. Do they have then my...
They don't, is my point.
So then how...
They're just, or is it just resting in some file.
So are they just, scanning my name and my social and then connecting that to the fingerprints and saying,
basically all
this guy with these fingerprints
Russian hackers can still, yes, that's basically all they're doing. The fingerprints for you as a baby, that's just to make sure they don't switch you out because all the babies are like...
That's what I assume.
That's all it is. And the blood test is there just like to make sure you're healthy.
Yes.
Allegedly. But so what about that? I mean, basically they're collecting this information anyway. What about... a national man, I could see the misuse. The deep state just being like, we got your DNA and we saw that your fingerprints were at a place where there was a murder against I don't know. Honestly, I'm just here to punch you in the face. Bah! Cops, deep state. They punch you in the face. Bad idea.
That would work in a certain society, I think. With the way it's the country's set up now, I don't think it would be the best of idea. But I could see it working under certain circumstances.
What circumstances you like? I bet you there's plenty of people who would like to see it now. It said places with immigrants have less crime. And it said it had something to do with melting pot. And his thing was basically like, because they blah, 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 something nice and positive. You know what I see happening more? Snitching more. It's like, I see that guy that I don't like. I'm going to report him so there's just more crime.
No, but
it's just more snitching.
Is it immigrants want to do, show that they're here for for the positive reasons and just making sure they're not getting in trouble?
I don't know.
Being extra good?
Yeah, it could be that too, but it was a short article and I don't know.
He didn't go into delving.
He might have. No, yeah, he did, but it's like, I'll be honest, that one felt like it was a heavy bias. Because I'm not saying there's more crime in places. I just don't know how much less crime there is with immigrants. Now, admittedly, here's the thing, though. The places that would have high immigration would be already big cities with giant police forces. Like New York, California, Florida, the coastal cities where, if there's more immigrants coming in, they've already got the whole better economy thing, but they're used to growing at an exponential rate. Not exponential, geometric. Man, reason? Nah, jump to the next step. That sounds... I don't know how I felt about that one. And then it followed up with one of his ideas that sounded stupid, was encouraging gentrification. Okay. Because it said that basically whenever... And I thought it was going to be like, whoa, wasn't that make like poor people leave their houses? And his point wasn't against that, but basically is that if these areas have high crime, that once they're gentrified and basically people have to move out of the area, that the crime doesn't follow them, the crime doesn't stay behind, it just somehow disperses. The idea being that you broke up the crime. Now, this is why I think that's a stupid idea and a stupid way of saying it. It is a known fact that whenever they broke up the projects that they had, they separated a lot of the gangs, they just started new gangs. There might have been a small dip in like the crime, but it's like they just went and crimed other places.
And they would immigrate to some other place and they would just continue. Right, those people who are really in the crime and want to continue that life
because it's so fun and profitable.
Nothing's gonna stop them.
Exactly, and they just show people how to do it. And the point of the last, he had another point that I wasn't sure how to write down.
Okay, but
basically it was getting ex-criminals or people who are likely to be criminals themselves or ex-cons or something to really be involved in like the tipster line or to get involved with breaking down. It was a weird one, like getting involved with crimes before they kind of get started. Like if there's an altercation or something, have somebody who's like an ex-con and already been through the system and have them officially be like the breaker up of fights. It was crazy. It was a last one. It seems a little... one. Yeah.
And I like the idea
I'm paraphrasing a lot, but it's still...
the one thing I do see, like ex-cons, like Danny Trejo, he's like this American icon now. It seems, he's
a Mexican-American icon.
Mexican-American icon. He goes around talking about his days in prison and everything, and he seems to be giving people who are in that situation, hope and kind of the right thing. I enjoy it. I think that's a good way to go about it. But you're saying someone like an ex-con actually going in, two guys fighting and actually going in to try to solve the argument.
Man. And the way I had interpreted, which seems like not how he intended it, was basically just like after not really keeping a snitch network, but just basically giving people who come out of jail enough maybe financial incentive or something else to not necessarily be a snitch, but just get ahead of like violent crimes. I don't know, that was a loose one, but there was a bunch of other good ideas that I thought made sense. If you guys think you know how to stop crime,
no solution is going to be perfect. There's a lot of ideas out there. We'll put a link to the
no, we won't.
We will put a link to the article, and if you want to read it, let us know what y'all think.
My phone died. I can't share you the link to the article.
I'll find
if
it.
I find it on your cell phone.
I got the guy's name.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Tell us what you think. Like, share, set up notifications, ring that bell.
Yeah.
Comment.
Thank you so much for watching.